It's a Friday morning out here in the United States. For those out there who are overseas and stuff like that, may have a different time zone. A lot of y'all know my disclaimer. I'm not no pastor. I'm not no preacher. You understand? I'm not no evangelist. I ain't no deacon. None of that. You know what I mean? I don't hold no type of office in the church. I'm just a YouTube content creator. I'm not on no church auxiliary or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody that's going to join us live now in the middle and those who are going to catch it when it uploads to YouTube. Shout out to the false prophets. You know what I mean? Shout out to the false prophets. I will say that. Who like to screen record, the low tier false prophets who like to screen record me, just a basic YouTuber. I don't know why you're so fascinated about me. I don't get it. You understand? I'm not here to violate any type of community guidelines, any type of copyright infringement, or any type of privacy guidelines at all. Shout out to everybody that's going to join us live now, in the middle, and those who are going to catch it when it uploads to YouTube. We made it another day. I think my Q&A question, because I can't see it right now, man. I think my Q&A question was, are you thankful that you made it another day here on Earth? My poll question was, what is your go-to drink for breakfast? What is your go-to drink for breakfast? I think I put up orange juice, water, lemon. I know some people like to make the lemon waters with the cucumbers and stuff like that in it. You know what I mean? I put coffee, I put tea, and I put a funny option up there, alcohol, because some people like to drink beer in the morning. Believe it or not, some people like to drink beer in the morning. I've seen that before. You understand? I believe I was about 19 years old. 19 years old, a pure heathen. Was I 19? Yeah, I was about 19. You understand? And I wasn't in church or nothing like that at all. Didn't care too much about church at that time, definitely. And I used to stay at this woman house, spend some nights, and her mother would have a beer in the morning. I still remember that, clear as day. Yeah, I mean, I have family members drink a beer in the morning. You know, I don't know if the liquor stores do it still to this day. Out here in the South, they call them ABC stores. You know what I'm saying? When I first moved to the South, I said ABC store. What is that, like a store for kids? I didn't know it was a liquor store. I didn't know. You know what I mean? But out here in the South, they don't sell alcohol until about 10 a.m. That's the law out here, I guess, or whatever. But I'm pretty sure some people stack beers up and they have a beer in the morning. Some of y'all have mimosas. You understand? Some people know about the mimosa. you know, mimosas. I didn't know what a mimosa was. Just somebody explained it to me. You know what I mean? That they have mimosa in the morning with their breakfast. What is that, like champagne or wine mixed with orange juice? That just sounds disgusting, honestly. You know what I mean? So that's why I put those options up there, because some people be having mimosas, what they call them, for breakfast or whatever. What's up to Patricia? You says greetings, everyone. I hope all is staying cool. God bless you all. God bless you too. Tony, your family. Appreciate that. Oh yeah, it's dangerous. It's dangerous conditions out there, in the South. You understand? I used to work out in the heat, this type of heat with heavy clothing on. You know what I mean? So it's really nothing to me if you're hydrated. But, for those who don't, it's best to stay in the house and it's best to stay cool and hydrated. I will say that. I can understand why a lot of people pass out in this type of heat, especially if they're not taking care of themselves, man. All right. And in the South, the humidity is more enhanced than up north. Yeah, I mean, the oxygen levels is very, very thin. It's good. It's good for athletes to get in shape or whatever, but one still has to be careful, man. When you're coming out of here in the South, man, this heat is totally different from up north. So if you're from up north and you come to the South and you experience the heat is totally different. Teresa says, I'm laughing at how you said no flirting. Are they that bad in here? Good morning to you too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man. You got individuals who directly flirt. There's a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things. You know what I'm saying? If you see a woman or vice versa or whatever that you're interested in, you know what I'm saying? Come correct towards her. You understand? Check the temperature. You had fellas coming in here talking about, man, you beautiful. I want to do this to you. I want to do that to you. Right on the live. Right on the live. You understand? So that's crazy. I will say that. He says, I'm drinking orange juice. Then after my morning walk, I drank a protein smoothie. Today it's vanilla beans. Cool. What's up to V Richards? What up to June? He says, water and a protein shake. Wonderful. What's up to Janet? Fayetteville. Shout out to Fayetteville, North Carolina. You know what I mean? Sometimes I go out there for delivery to Fort Braggs. Oh man, that's a long journey. Long journey. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it could be a hassle getting in there with an 18 wheeler. You know what I'm saying? Getting into Fort Bragg. Nice area, though. Nice area. I will say that, man. That military base is nice, you know? All right. Teresa says, OMG, shout out to the false prophets. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of low tier false prophets who are, obsessed. Why? I don't know. I don't get it. I was looking at something earlier um, as I was on the phone. I'm just, sometimes I look at certain things and, sometimes people could tag you. They could tag your YouTube channels and there's a way you could look at it like it's to give you an option of, mentions and comments of your name. So I decided to check out who mentioned, I guess, this YouTube channel, my other YouTube channels. And there was this one female from a false church out there in Canada. Yeah, I mean, calls herself Sister Poochie or something like that. Mm-mm-mm. You understand? Playing a false prophet, have some words about me or whatever. Sister Poochie. Sister Poochie. That's your name. You understand? Listen, if you didn't have a bumpy face, you may have had an opportunity with me. You understand? You may have had you may have had an opportunity with me, Sister Poochie. You understand? Get your face cleaned up first, Sister Poochie. You know what I mean? You look like you kind of wear makeup to hide those pimples and bumps. You understand? Get your face, exfoliated, clean your skin. You know what I mean? Clean it thoroughly. You understand? You know, get your Nestle Crunch face fixed first. Then you may. You understand? May. So that's a person from the false prophet church out there in Canada tagging me. You tagging me for? I don't want you. You understand? So I checked out, a few not watch, but you could see like how many videos they got up about you. She got a different channel. I'm not going to say her channel name, but she mentioned who she was as far as like her name. I don't know if that's a real name, Poochie. If that's your real name, then what parents would name a female Poochie? Would you a dog or something? Huh? Would you a poodle or something like that? Would you a female dog? Huh? Is that what you are? Mm, mm, mm. Wow. A woman named Poochie. Mm, mm, mm. Tail wagging woman. What's up to BZ? Jay Mason says energy drink. Energy drink. Ah man. Me personally, I don't know about that, man. That stuff like that, like a Red Bull, Monster, it could have me feeling jittery, man. Cause maybe you're drinking a healthy one, but when I had the Red Bull before and the Monster, I don't know, man. Just makes you feel jittery. Well, me at least. What's up to Philip? What up to Indoor? Alina, Jamal, Bag Talk says he said gods don't drink liquor. Corinda says, I used to have mimosas for brunch. if I was feeling fancy. Feeling fancy. What's up with Pure Aspirations? Philip said that was my bad habit, ice cold beer and wine. Right? I'm all good at Pure Aspirations. What about you? Helena says it's very dangerous. I'm not from here. I got sick when I first moved to North Carolina. I'm glad I purchased a humidifier because this air conditioner isn't right at all. What's up to Fergus from Ireland? Shout out to you. Indoor says 9:29. The liquor store already open. Oh yeah, I think I think it's like that in New Orleans. I think it's like that in New Orleans. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if they open 24/7, but somebody was telling me about that. That you could buy alcohol early in the morning in New Orleans. Early in the morning. What up to Scarlett? Shout out to you. Ah man, what's up to New York? Travis, what up to New York? Shout out to Brooklyn, Harlem, 125th and Lenox. Brooklyn, Coney Island, Manhattan, Times Square, Queens. Yeah, I mean, Long Island, Staten Island. Yeah, I mean, shout out to those places, man. 718-212. Teresa says it's too early for that. Have a protein shake, not no energy drink. Maybe during the lunchtime. Helena says lemon water. All right. What up to Mr. Ham says I make my own juice. Mr. Lookalike. Mr. Lookalike. You again. You understand? Here you go with this same question. Here you go with the same question that you always ask this question all the time. For what reason? I'm going to keep telling you the same answer. I don't care about your question. Who cares about it? You always ask the same question all the time. All the time. I'm starting to think you like a bot or something. All right? What's up to Looking for God? Don Mitchell. What's up to, what is that? Niner says Vegas 24/7. What up to Kate Dunk? Indoor says I love juice. I love to juice some watermelon, ginger, and lemon. What's up to S. Whitney from the 713? Teresa said you're from Chicago. Jamar says the same here in Cali. 7-Eleven stay open for the liquor. Pure Aspiration says in the morning tea or coffee, and throughout the day I drink H2O, cranberry juice, and apple juice throughout the day. What's up to 9362? Said what's brown and rhymes with Dre? Man, talking about, man. Travis, appreciate the support to this YouTube channel. God bless you and your family. You said small cup of coffee, egg whites, and wheat toast is my go-to here in Suffolk, New York. Not bad. Not bad at all. What's up to Michelle? Shout out to you. Marquise, shout out to you. Mr. Lookalike said definitely not a bot. But why you come on here always asking the same question? Why you come on here always asking the same question? For what reason? What is your reasoning? Let us know. You know what I mean? If you know that a YouTuber puts up, a pastor who explains the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, or whatever the case may be, and yet you ask the YouTuber the same question all the time. For what reason? Would you think you're gonna get a different answer aside of the YouTuber? Ask the preacher man. Don't ask the YouTuber unless he's a minister. You understand? All right. What's up to Marcia? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Dawn says coffee in the wintertime. I don't see that. There you go, right there. He says coffee in the wintertime, hot tea and lemon during the summertime. Cool. Michelle says I'm trying to keto diet. Therefore, I'm doing bulletproof coffee for breakfast. I never heard of that before. Bulletproof coffee. Never heard of it before. Yeah, man, sounds interesting. Teresa says that's because he's a troll. Travis, he says you're a cool gentleman. I sub and like the stream. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. Indoor says, do you like sugar-free drinks? Oh, absolutely. Body Armor, Gatorade, um, not soda. You know what I mean? If I'm going to drink a soda, I like it the normal way. You know what I'm saying? I like it the normal way. But sugar-free drinks, I drink that often, especially with the Body Armors and the Gatorades. All right. K Dunk says, Cincinnati, Ohio, drinking mushroom coffee and protein cereal. I've heard of that before. Teresa says, so what do you drink in the morning? A lot of water. A lot of water. Maybe 3 or 4 bottles of water before it hits noon. You know what I mean? Aquafina, pure water. You know, I know some of those waters got like certain ingredients in it. If you ever go to the store, I know some people probably don't pay attention. If you're buying certain waters and you look at the ingredients, they got some things in there. You know what I'm saying? That my stomach can't fathom. You know, so I like pure water. So Aquafina, pure water. I believe the bottles is about 16.9. What is that? Fluid liters or something like that. So about 3 or 4 bottles, and then we got the sugar-free Body Armor drinks. So if I'm gonna have a nice size breakfast, orange juice. I need a lot of orange juice. You know, so those are my go-to drinks. Number 1 is water. Number 2 is Body Armor drinks. Number 3 is orange juice. You know, what's up to 88? Travis says bulletproof coffee is pretty good. Wonderful. Mr. Ham says Mr. Ham says indoor. I only use those fruits for beet juice. Beet juice. Just call me Ja or Jay. He says great day everyone. I drank vanilla chai tea in the AM. I've heard of that before. Indoor says bulletproof coffee is a high-fat, low-carb coffee drink made by blending brewed coffee with grass-fed butter. He says, and MCT oil, like coconut oil. Until frothy. Mr. Ham says beet juice is the best thing to have in the morning and before you go to bed. That's a good point. You know what I mean? On top of me, I would say on top of like a magnesium supplement or vitamin. So that's a good point. He's right about that. Beet juice, great. I think it serves as a relaxer. You know what I mean? It can relax the arteries and stuff like that, along with the magnesium, man. So that's a good point right there at Mr. Ham. First time I hear somebody say that, you know. Mr. Lookalike says, I'm asking you because I never got an answer. Why have another man answer for you? Can't you answer for yourself? See, now you're trying to play a chess move. That stuff don't work on me, man. That stuff don't work on me at all. You understand? So if you have a football coach, right, and then you got the player. Listen, the football coach is very skilled. He's very knowledgeable. He can see on the outside of the game. He's more knowledgeable of the game at the end of the day. It's parallel to a pastor. How you go up to a player and ask him a question that only the coach can break down very thoroughly. You understand that? You trying to flip it and you trying to have a psychological move. That's not gonna work on me, man, at all. Why are you asking a person? Why are you asking a student instead of the teacher? When you walk into class and would you ask the student a question, huh? Or you ask the teacher a question who's teaching a lesson? It's common sense. You understand? You see how that works? You ain't gonna go into a job and just go up to a normal worker, man. How you do this? How you do that? Whereas though the supervisor or the manager has the knowledge upon a lot of those things versus the worker. Why? Why would you ask the student instead of the teacher? That's the whole point of it. You keep coming in here, asking me a question. Is the father the son? Is the son the father? Is this, is that? You ask the same question when you could ask the teacher. I'm not the teacher. That's the whole point. Don't you not get that? You understand? That's just basic common sense at the end of the day. If you don't get that, then obviously you're ignorant. Simple as that, man. And you're going to get the same answer over and over. Go email the church. Go talk to a minister. Go talk to a preacher. You know what I mean? I'm not here to break down biblical questions and things like that of the Bible. Simple as that. Go somewhere else with that. You won't get an answer from me at all. Go check out a video. Go type in God sent preachers, your topic, Geno Jennings. Go type in Taj. Go type in Abraham Aviles, Minister Lionel, Minister Lodge. You understand that? Elder King, Stephen Williams, Dan Thompson. Go type in those fellas. Go type in Holiness Preachers or TOG Preachers and put your question in there. Don't come to a YouTuber who's not a minister. You know what I mean? You can't be that ignorant. You understand? You can't be that foolish and stupid to keep coming and ask a student a question that the teacher could break down better. Huh? You don't have that much common sense? Then what do you have? Huh? Indoor. I mean, some people are just stupid. They just stupid. You understand? They just real stupid at the end of the day. You know? Mr. Ham says, do you read what's in those drinks? What drinks you referring to? You talking about water? If you're talking about like water, the reason I notice about the ingredients to certain waters, because I kept buying like even if you buy like the store brand Food Lion or Walmart, or even if you buy a good brand, right? I was noticing my stomach kept feeling ill, my throat was burning and whatnot, drinking certain waters. I said, what is going on? You understand? So I had to test it out often. If I had to have a stomach ache or my throat was burning, hey, that's what it is. I wanted to find out why I was doing that. So every water that I bought had the same ingredients in it, and it was doing that. So when I bought the Aquafina, which was pure water, it didn't do it. You understand that? So that's how I figured that out, man. I can't drink certain waters because of those certain ingredients that they put in there, man. It has to be like pure water. Maybe some people could take it, some people can't at the end of the day, man. But I prefer to drink pure water, you know what I mean? Not mixed with certain ingredients or whatever. But if you're talking about like body armor and whatnot, let me know. What's up to A Fancy? Travis, you said, do you follow sports? What is that? FIFA? That must be soccer or something like that. The Olympics. Not as much. Not as much, you know what I mean? But more so boxing. Then it might be like, I want to say basketball, somewhat. You know, somewhat basketball, man. But mainly like the players. You know, it ain't like how it was before when Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant and B.J. Armstrong and those fellas was there, and Ron Harper and Dennis Rodman and those fellas was there back in those days, man, when I really followed the team. Now it's just certain players that I really kind of like follow. You know what I mean? But I hear people talking about, you know, the soccer and stuff like that, man, which is all right. You know what I mean? But soccer, I never really watched like a whole soccer game because I don't understand it. I mean, I didn't come up playing soccer or anything like that. You know, it was mainly like football, tackle football, basketball. Never really played baseball. You understand? Just basketball and football mainly. All right. NG, you said, do you prefer? I don't know what you're talking about with those words. What's up to TES? Shout out to you. What up to Mr. Nixon? Shout out to you. Appreciate that, Teresa. Thank you for the support of this YouTube channel. God bless you and your family. Hey, Fancy says, how long have you been live? It says 24 minutes and 43 seconds, and it's continuing. What up to Lewis? He says, I'm just chilling, eating jelly on the couch. It's rainy outside, so things are pretty going well. Wonderful. Appreciate that, Carlos. Thank you for the support of this YouTube channel. God bless you and your family. Teresa says, go ask Pastor Geno Jennings. I got a lot of people off of my case, especially women preachers, when I tell them I follow him. They block me and never have nothing else to do with me. The thing is, a lot of individuals, they take certain things personal. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, certain people could have respectful disagreements. At the end of the day, I don't take nothing personal, but obviously, especially women preachers. You know what I mean? I disagree with women preachers, of course, or whatever, and people may block you or remove you and stuff like that. But hey, it is what it is. Some people like that get caught in their feelings. But hey, me personally, I don't care. Mr. Ham says beet juice is the best thing on an empty stomach first thing in the morning. Wonderful. What's up to Shelly House? Appreciate that. A Fancy. What's up to Patty Brown? Digital Masterpiece says, hope all is well. I'm in barber class. I haven't logged in a while. Hope you're doing well. Wonderful. Barber class, man. Hey, man, that's what's up, man. Doing your thing, whatever. With the clippers, with them, what else is out there? Trimmers, straight razors, and all that, man. Hey, do your thing, man. What's up to New Work? Shout out to you. He says, what was the question he asking? Mr. Ham, you said, what was the question? Let me go back and see if I can find that question. So he came in here like twice last week. He come in here like every week asking the same question. Why? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we keep telling him, I ain't no preacher. I ain't no pastor. Next, I'm going to have to add, I don't break down biblical questions and stuff like that. He says, do you believe the Son is the Father and the Father is the Son? That's a dumb question. That is a dumb question. You got the preacher man clearly got videos up there breaking it down. You know what I mean? You asking a person who just talking about good morning, how's everybody doing? Or when we're talking about, why do people unalive themselves? You know what I mean? Or what's the healthiest things to eat? You still come in here, you ask that question. Why do you do that? He says, do you believe the Son is the Father and the Father is the Son? All the time. All the time. At the end of the day. How is me answering the question going to help your salvation? That's what you need to worry about, Mr. Lookalike. How is me, a normal YouTuber who's not a minister, whether I answer the question right or wrong, how is it going to help your salvation? Huh? Answer that question. How is a non-minister, how is a person who's not sent by God to preach, as I know now, right? Maybe later on, who knows? How can that help a person salvation? Answer it. See, people don't think. They really don't think. Well, I'm going to ask this non-minister, non-God-sent preacher. You understand? Who never had a sermon, who don't classify himself as a minister or anything like that. Whether he answered right or wrong, how is it going to help my salvation? How is it? All right? And we spoke about that a couple of days ago. About these individuals. They always want to talk about the Son of God. They always want to talk about the Trinity. They talk about the same stuff over and over. There's more reality things to talk about to help encourage the people at the end of the day. You know what I mean? The same stuff over and over. It's like a merry-go-round. Son of God, is there flesh and blood in heaven? This, that. The same stuff over and over. You know what I mean? You got more serious things out here to worry about. You understand? But you asking a non-minister that question. How does that make you look? You go up to people on the outside, man, is the Father the Son and the Son the Father? They don't look at you like, what you talking about, man? I don't know what you're talking about. You understand? I ain't no preacher. I don't break nothing down. You know what I mean? That's not my cup of tea at the end of the day. Go ask a preacher that question. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't be surprised if you come in here another day and ask that question. Shelly Houses, I wake up in the morning reaching for my coffee, but after I drink it, I have to brush my teeth because if not, I get sick. Mm. Mr. Ham says the armored drinks. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yes. I make sure it's not high in sodium. Make sure I don't have like, cholesterol in it. You know what I mean? Those two factors. Uh-uh. You know what I mean? That's what I mainly look for. Unless there's something in there that, you've seen or you studied about that's not good. Let me know. Mr. Nixon says coconut water is some great water to drink too. What up to 10 Ninjas? Appreciate that. At Carlos, you said try the blue water. Great, my brother. Wonderful. Travis says, oh, nice. I can talk to you till I'm blue in the face about boxing. Grow up watching Roy Jones. Roy Jones Jr. I was just watching him with Andre Ward. Just was watching something in the morning about him and Andre Ward. Him talking with Andre Ward with all the smoke boxing. How he explained he sparred a guy who later on he fought. You understand? A lot of times that happens. When you fighting in the amateurs or, you sparring when you're young, you never know. You might meet them later on down the road. You understand? I think that's why, Ryan Garcia, he beat Devin Haney or whatever. I don't care what nobody say. That's how, I think he knows the blueprint how to beat Haney because they sparred, they fought in the amateurs and stuff like that. So a lot of fights people see in these days, a lot of people done sparred each other already. You know what I mean? So they already know each other's styles. They just mainly hit it just to get a bag or two. But back in those days, man, Roy was, he was the truth. Roy was the truth. But people like Antonio Tarver knew how to, crack his code and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And Glenn Johnson. All right. Appreciate that at Shelly House. God bless you and your family. What up to Chris Hanley? Good morning to you too. He says, do you like coffee? I never had coffee before. Maybe one day I'll try coffee, maybe. But I'm 42 and I never had coffee before, ever. You understand? Ever. Reginald, you put Timothy 2:11 through 15. You wrote. Excuse me. Oh man. A Fancy says Tony doesn't like coffee. Beet juice, water, and Gatorade. You wrote. Beet juice. Mr. Ham. Do you make fresh beet juice? Because I got the powdered kind. It's called like Force Factor. You know what I'm saying? And I try to drink it twice, just like how you say it, but sometimes I get hard headed or whatever. But let me know if you do it naturally or you do it from like the powder. Or sometimes people although it's expensive, you can buy the beet drinks off of like Amazon. But it's expensive though. But it's worth it. Teresa says, right, you're telling him, right? I promise. They are so ignorant. Absolutely. Mr. Ham says the question he asks is not presented right. What up to Denise Carter? He says, greetings, brother. He says, I'm a Caribbean lady, so the first thing I have in the morning is a cup of hot tea. Hot tea. There's nothing wrong with hot tea. I like ginger lemon tea. Shelly House says, I drink sour sup, and now I no longer take blood pressure medicine. Blood pressure. A lot of us, black folks, Spanish folks, minorities, a lot of us deal with that. It could just be hereditary, right? You be in shape and everything. You know what I mean? And last week I went to the supermarket. I say it's almost like everything got just a bunch of sodium in it, packed with sodium, packed. Even the healthy stuff. You know what I mean? So it's tough out here, man, trying to find something that's really low in sodium. Right? Um, Let me see where we at. Mr. Ham says, honestly, I think you would be better juicing. I think it's because of what they do to preserve those drinks. Wonderful. All right. For sure. For sure. One, you said try the dragon fruit and black coffee for breakfast. You also stated that it will work wonders in your body. Wonderful. What's up to let me see who this is. What's up to just call me Jay or Ja. He says coffee had me at the cardiologist every 3 months, which led me to chai tea. And I've been fine ever since. So you may not be missing anything. Wow. Cardiologist. What up to TES? This is a hot ginger tea also. You wrote. All right. Mr. Ham, in reference to Ashley, says I wouldn't mix beet juice with Gatorade. You know, I tried that before, man. I ain't gonna lie, I did try that. I think because I ran out of water at work or whatever, and I tried it, man. It's not a good taste, but hey, man. You know what I mean? Hey, I had no choice at the time. You know, it's not a good taste though. Mr. Nixon says I drank the organic force factor beetroot powder mix with lemon juice, but fresh beetroot juice in my name juicer is better. Wonderful. All right. Denise Carter, in reference to Shelly House, she says the sour sup leaves is number one for the BP. I never heard that before. As far as like the sour sup, it's my first time hearing that term today. So it's always good to have basic conversations. You may learn new stuff. You may be encouraged by certain things or go out. Okay, man, I never heard of this. I'm gonna see if I want to try this, and you never know. Shelly House says I started drinking the Body Armor, and it's good. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man, I think it's one of my favorite drinks. I will say that. What's up to Loretta Jackson? What up to City Chaos? He says alcohol is an option. As an option for breakfast is kind of crazy. It is crazy, but some people do. Some people do have alcohol for breakfast. You know what I mean? They have a beer or two. No food. No food at all. Just 2 big cans of beer. You know what I mean? I know of this one person, I think she liked Heineken's in the morning. I'm young. You understand? And I wasn't even in church, but I knew better. Beer for breakfast? Some people are like that. They gotta have a few beers for breakfast. You understand? And then for lunch also. Some people drink beer all day. All day. You know what I mean? All day. And you could tell. You could tell by some people, cake bellies. You understand? Especially men. That's all they do is drink all day. Beer. Beer. Beer all day. You know what I mean? There's a fighter by the name of Adrian Broner. I mean, look at him. He's trying to get back in shape, but he let himself get away. Man's about 36. Let himself get away. Drinking a bunch of beer all day. But sometimes that can happen to people, man. They just drink their life away. Sometimes you could just smell a person. They don't even have to drink beer, but it's all in their pores They body just smell like alcohol, beer wise. They just smell like beer. Or people who smoke cigarettes all day. Some people smoke a couple packs a day. It's the same principles drinking beer. You understand? I'm pretty sure some people work with individuals who smoke cigarettes all day, Newports all day. They smoke Newports all day. That's it. Every 10 minutes, they're taking a smoke break. You know what I mean? A smoke break. Or I see some people in the South chewing tobacco. Disgusting. Disgusting. You know what I mean? Stink breath and all. Stink breath and all. You understand? Smoking cigarettes, chewing tobacco. You know what I mean? And then you got to be in people's face. Wow. You understand? Wow. You know, if I know that, I'm at work, or if I'm going to be in a person's face talking, because sometimes people's breath, you can smell it from a distance. You can smell it from a far distance. You know, if you're smoking cigarettes or if you're chewing tobacco, you should know it's going to make your breath smell bad. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. You know? All right? Denise Carter says, my BP always very high. The sour sup leaves always help me. Brother Tony, I love your topics always. Appreciate that. Shout out to you. Thank you for, tuning in and supporting the channels. You know, Teresa says, I just want to say people be drinking beers, smoking cigarettes, and they'll tell you what God told them. And I just shake my head. I refuse to go in those false churches. LOL. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially, there's a lot of hypocrites. I think I was looking at a post on Facebook the other day. I think somebody, they asked a question, a funny question. You know what I mean? It was, should a man, I don't know, should a man go get a pedicure or wear clear polish? Something like that. And I like to watch the comments, look at the comments. You know what I mean? And I know of certain people and their lifestyles and stuff like that. And you got individuals who are hypocrites. You understand? The person asked, should a man go get a pedicure and put clear nail polish on his nails and stuff like that? I don't know nothing about that, man. I ain't never had no pedicure or anything like that. You understand? Why would a man be thinking about putting clear nail polish on himself? I don't know. I don't know nothing about that. I don't know. Maybe, of course, the Facebooker would probably be joking around and stuff like that or whatever. But for men out there to even have a crumb of a thought. Now, maybe the pedicure, I was watching the videos of, they cleaning the feet and trimming the toenails and all the other stuff. You know what I mean? I never seen a person get a pedicure until about, I think it was like last year or something like that on a video. You know what I mean? And I said, man, I guess, they taking care of this person's feet and cleaning it out and all this other stuff. Whatever. You know what I mean? But as far as like clear nail polish on a man, no way. No way. What's up to Long Live? Your name is Long Live King Von and D-Thing. Long live King Von and D-Thing. But at least you was respectful with the question. How's everyone doing? I'm good. Yeah, I mean, now some people may not know who King Von is. Rapper out of Chicago. You know what I mean? Some people may not know who D-Thing is. I think he was the brother to Little Dirk or whatever. You understand? But if that's how you pay your respects or whatever, then hey, more power to you. Lendo, You said some people have stink breath without smoking. True. True. Could be the things that they're eating. You understand? Could be I think coffee sometimes. You understand? Or some people just don't brush their teeth at all. You know? They don't use mouthwash at all. If I know I'm gonna be in the person's face talking or whatever the case may be, it'd be wise to, brush your teeth extra. You understand? Have a little bottle of mouthwash and whatnot. You understand? But some people don't care. I think I was talking with somebody in Charlotte one time. Two. No, it's one in Charlotte, and it was a doctor I went to back in March. Yeah, I mean back in March, little physical checkup or whatever the case may be. Of course, everything was all good. Yeah, I mean I don't know why the woman was in my face like that. But her breath smelled bad. Honestly, this was a doctor. You understand? And it's you know, I knew how comical I could be. You understand? So I'm in my mind like, should I be here or should you be at the dentist? You understand? I know I need braces, but my breath smells good. You understand? I know I need some braces or whatever. But I'd rather have the need of braces than bad breath. Would you rather have crooked teeth, few crooked teeth, and your breath smell good, or nice teeth and bad breath? Huh. So man, I had to step back just a little bit. You understand? Because it smelled like manure, honestly. But if you know you're gonna be in people's face as a doctor or I don't know, you work in a bank or office, you understand? You may have issues with your breath. You could have clean white teeth, but you still can have bad breath. You understand? Yeah, you can smile with nice clean white teeth, but people don't want to get close to you because your breath smell like poop. Simple. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Maybe she ate something that didn't register with her breath or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? But you're right about that. You understand? Some people, I mean, their breath just smell like manure. Manure. you know? So I'm sitting there like, yo, these people they don't know that their breath smell that way. You understand? And it'd be like a stench. I think it's a difference between a stench, when it's just a stench that just won't go away. So obviously you got an issue. You know what I mean? Obviously, at the end of the day. You know what I mean? But some people, if they breath stink, if you know them, some people, I don't want to hurt their feelings or whatever, and whatever the case may be and stuff like that. Hey, man, if you got a coworker and they breath stink, hey, pull them to the side, man. Yeah, I mean, blessingly, I don't work close to people or whatever the case may be. But of course, you're delivering to the customers. I try to keep distance from them. You understand? But that's just me. You know what I mean? That's just me. If you could smell a person's breath from a distance, and it can happen, that's bad, man. That's bad, man. You understand? And then there was another person. Person, I guess, wanted to talk to me and stuff like that for whatever reasons. And I could smell their breath from 3 or 4 feet away. 3 or 4 feet away. Yeah, I mean, forget the conversation, the importance of the conversation. I'm trying not to barf. Because some people's breath is like that. Yeah, man, I can say, listen, man, I know I need a couple of braces or whatever, but this person breath stink. I know my breath smell like Listerine, you know what I'm saying? But this person breath stinks. You understand? You understand? That's just me, man. You know, even when I wake up in the middle of the night, it doesn't hurt to, gargle a little bit of Listerine. That's a jewel right there. You understand? That's a jewel. Middle of the night, gargle some Listerine or Scope before you go back to bed. You know what I mean? Simple. You know? Brush your teeth twice a day, mouthwash and all that. You know, if you're going out with your lady or whatever, it doesn't hurt to bring a little bottle of mouthwash. Or if you know you're going to be in service or whatever, and you're going to talk to people, or at work and talk to people, hey, man, you understand? You understand? So little things like that I learned to do, because you never know how certain foods can make your breath, smell. You don't know. You know what I mean? You don't know. I may have had, some salmon or something like that, and I got to talk to a person, or whatever type of foods. So after I eat or whatever, of course, floss and, some people brush their teeth and, use mouthwash or just use mouthwash or whatever the case may be after flossing. But you're right about that at Londo. Appreciate that at A Fancy. Shout out to you. Shelly House says, my mom used to give my pop a pedicure and manicure at home because his nails had to be clean and cut, but no polish. Anthony Nelson says, good morning. I have a question for you. If a person doesn't join First Church and living a holy life and been baptized in the right way, will that person go to hell? See, that right there is a conversational question. Unlike what the other fellow was talking about, Mr. Lookalike. But as Gino mentioned, that First Church isn't the only church that's living right. But I've heard some people, mention something like that. If you don't go to First Church, then you're going to hell. No, it don't work that way. It don't work that way. You understand? First Church is not the only holy church in the world. You understand? It's very few other churches. Very few. As I explained, those churches and those some ministers have joined First Church because their church was, going by the scriptures, and they happened to come across the truth of God. Say, listen, man, we're teaching the same thing. We should fellowship. Simple. And I'm pretty sure there's other churches out there, very few, that's living holy or teaching from the scriptures the proper way. You know what I mean? So if a church out there is, another church out there is going by the scriptures and people are living righteous and holy, you know what I mean? They're not doing anything wrong, right? I think, for those out there who know the Bible, please help me out. I think it was a man who the disciples was walking by, right? And I guess he was preaching Jesus or whatever the case may be, but he wasn't with them. And I guess the disciples had an issue with that, right? For those out there who know the story. And I'm just paraphrasing, right? Basically, why are you bothering them? They're not doing nothing wrong. You understand? If another church out there who's in holiness and they're not doing nothing or teaching nothing contrary to the scriptures, what are they doing wrong? But you got some people with that mindset that if you don't go to this church right here, you're going to hell. It don't work that way, man. That's not right. That's not right at all. No. Yeah, I mean, that's not right at all at the end of the day. You understand? Right is right and wrong is wrong. Simple. If this person over here attends a church that's, going by the scriptures and they living right, they living holy, and whatnot, they're not doing anything wrong. They're not doing nothing wrong at the end of the day. If Gino talks about it, we're not the only church that's out there. It's very few. I've heard them say that. Listen, leave them alone. Leave them alone at the end of the day. But I've seen individuals on social media from the church say that. I don't know why they're saying that. That's not what's taught. Do you understand? But some people, it's not clicking up there. So as Gino said, First Church is not the only one right. You know what I mean? It's just that it's not a lot you may hear about other churches preaching the truth, man. Just very few. Very, very few. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. So it's like when you think about it, it's like why would this person, if they're living righteous and holy and going by the scriptures and fasting and doing everything right, the church that church over there is doing everything right. You understand? They're in holiness, they represent holiness, everything. You know what I mean? They probably even doing more than the person that's complaining about it. You understand? And then they die off, or whatever the case may be, living right, Holy Ghost filled and everything. What did they do wrong? You understand? What's up to Sylvia James? Let me see where we at. See, I would have written her a note. Teresa says, and women are the worst, smoking and cigarettes and chewing tobacco. It's bad on anybody, but to see a woman doing it saddens my heart. What's up to Randy? He says, Tony the Hitman Harvin, what Pastor Gino Jennings calls you. Yeah, call me the Hitman. Of course, Fast Hands is my original fighting name or whatever. And then a fella in Jersey gave me the name Hard Hands, and then now it's the Hitman. So Fast Hands, Hard Hands, and now the Hitman. Yeah, man. But it's a cool name. I think it's a cool nickname, and whatnot. You understand? So shout out to you at Randy Alvarez. Hope all is well. Londo says, how would you deal? Oh my goodness. I don't know what that is. Probably one of them scammers. He says, how would you deal with a neighbor that said if you confronted their roommate, that's a senior citizen, he pows you, I don't want to hear nothing. After this man tried to run me and my pregnant wife off the road. I'm kind of not understanding where you're coming from. I'm kind of not understanding where you're coming from, Orlando. Could you rewrite that? Nelson says, absolutely better keep those tic tacs, and double mints on you at all times if your breath is that bad. Teresa says, no, hurt their feelings because they're hurting your face. You can't even eat behind them with bad breath. Pure Aspiration says they live with the smell so long they are numb to it. I have pulled people to the side for their breath and underarms. Underarms. Appreciate that at A Fancy. Underarms. Underarms. Bad hygienes. Underarms. Wow. Underarms. Body odor. Yeah, man. Whew. That's crazy. That is crazy. Underarms at work. I think if one knows if they underarms, if they sweat a lot and stuff like that, and they work, it'd be wise to bring your own rag, your own soap, or whatever. You could take 5-10 minutes out, in the bathroom, scrub your underarms, bring your deodorant. Some people do that. If they know that they get sweaty a lot and if they smell at a certain point, especially if it's hot or whatever, they bring a rag, they bring a soap, deodorant, cologne, perfume, or whatever to, try to get rid of that, keep up with their hygiene. I mean, I think that's wise if you know you could smell often. Even if you do wash up really good in the morning and put on deodorant and it wears off quickly. Some people's bodies is like that. All right. Mr. Ham says I use the Thera breath mouthwash. Wonderful. All right. Philly House says to Anthony Nelson, I didn't join the church, but the TOG because that's what's wrong with people getting caught up in a building instead of God. Wow. Like I said, yeah, I've heard certain individuals say that. I've heard that, man, which I totally disagree with. Totally disagree at all. You understand? Because that kind of reminds me of what S.C. Johnson followers are doing or believing. That he was the last apostle after John and the only apostle. You know what I mean? Of these times. Some people could be so hypnotized, you know what I mean, by a building or by a man that they become zombies. You understand that? That's the same thing that, happened with Jim Jones people. Hypnotized. You know what I mean? Blinded. And that's just sad, man. At the end of the day. I don't even go back and forth with those people. When people tag me and stuff like that, It's no back and forth, man. If that's what you think, then hey, it is what it is at the end of the day. Teresa says Pastor Gino has said he's not the only church that's living right. That is true. It's the same teaching. It should be everywhere, but it's not. Not a problem at Anthony Nelson. Shout out to you. All right. Shelly House says people don't brush their tongue and that carries bad breath. You're right. What's up to Victoria? Shout out to you. Pure Aspiration says it's not about the first church. It's about knowing the scriptures and making sure you are living a holy life as God requires. We must obey God alone. It's your relationship with God. It's your relationship with God, not Pastor Gino. I appreciate that at A Fancy. 8682 says God bless ladies and fellas. What's up to Madrid? He says, what's up, Brother Harvin? And how's everyone doing on this beautiful day? All good. All good for sure. All right. What up to Jewel Hernandez? T. Clay says, I'm getting baptized in Iowa soon. Can't wait. Wonderful. That's a wonderful thing. All right. Let me see where we at. Shelly House says to Patrick T, why can't men wear pajama pants? Huh? Let me go back to see if what this fellow wrote. I don't know where people like just come up with these weird comments. They come up with these weird comments. You know what I mean? Things that's irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit here and worry about pajama pants, Mr. Patrick T. I see your comment now. He says pajama pants, bad in holiness. I can care less about it. You know what I'm saying? I don't sit here and, I like sitting here and dwelling on pajama pants. I don't care about that. You know what I mean? I'm worrying about pajama pants. Wow, man. Should I buy these pajama pants or not? Man, I don't know. I ain't worrying about that. You know what I mean? That's not going to help me, man. That's not going to help me in my salvation and where to keep dwelling on pajama pants. I don't know where you get that from a topic called Good Morning, how's everybody doing? You come in here, you say pajama pants, bad in holiness. Where you get that from? Where did that come from? You know what I mean? With people with some type of mental issues, they just blurt out anything. They blurt out anything. I love mayonnaise and ice cream. You understand? I like ketchup and ice cream. They just blurt out anything. And you, Mr. Patrick T, you kind of got that residue. You kind of got that residue. You understand? Just blurt out any old thing, anything, just for attention. Pajama pants, bad in holiness. I never heard of such thing. I don't care about such thing. You know what I mean? I can care less about that, honestly. You know what I mean? That's not going to help me in my salvation, man. Being concerned about pajamas. Care less about that, man. You know? This man worrying about another church versus his own church. That's like me worrying about the guidelines at Church of Christ. Let me see what Church of Christ, man. Oh, man. I don't do that. I don't even know the guidelines at Church of Christ. I can care less about it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not worrying about the Church of God in Christ guidelines unless I'm doing like a, informative video or something like that. Yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, that's for video purposes, not to be concerned about it. At the end of the day. All right. Mr. Ham says he's doing a live Monday. Jules says, is your go-to breakfast beverage likely to raise your blood sugar or not? Well, some people levels are low. What about people with low blood sugar levels? That they gotta have more things with sugar in it. You know what I mean? What about that? I think that's why it's good to go to the doctor to check those things out. You understand? That's why I think it's good to have a good doctor to, read certain things to you. Like your white blood cells, red blood cells, your glucose, your cholesterol, and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? Because a person's blood sugar may be low. Yeah, I mean, it may be low. So you may have to eat or have more sugar. You understand? You may have to eat some cinnamon rolls for breakfast and have more orange juice. A person's blood sugar could be high. They may have to stay away from the sugar, just like a person's blood pressure could be super low. You know what I mean? That's possible too, to have low blood pressure. You understand? Now you got to eat, a little bit more salt or whatever, a little bit more sodium now. So it just more people who got high blood pressure than low blood pressure. You understand? More people with high sugar than low sugar. I guess it all depends on, what your doctor tell you about your sugars or glucose or whatever. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, A Fancy says ADHD. Willie Timpson says, holy greetings, my brother, and everyone. Hope all is well there. Wonderful. Driller says, I ain't reading that. Londo says, neighbor has a roommate who is a senior citizen, tried to run me and my pregnant wife off the road. Now, daughter, problems been going on. I tried to de-escalate, but he says, if I keep on, you can be shot. Well, my thing is this, get proof, get evidence, get video, get audio, of certain threats like that. Go to the local authorities with the evidence, with the proof. I mean, I know certain people deal with irate neighbors, Karens and Darrens and stuff like that. Nosy neighbors, nosy neighbors. Neighbors who watch you. You understand? Especially the men out there. If you got a wife, you may have a creep in your area. Or you may have a creepy neighbor, looking at your wife, trying to have small talk first. That's what they do. Creeps. Creepy neighbors. When I do these deliveries at these houses, whether delivering the drywall or mulch, concrete mix, whatever they need from the Home Depot or the Lowe's and stuff like that. All you see when you come in the 18-wheeler, people coming out peeking, being nosy. So nosy for? This ain't for you. This stuff ain't for you. Nosy neighbors. They think they own the property. They think they own the whole area. You know what I mean? So me personally, I don't like to talk with nobody or anything like that. If it's an irate neighbor, I'm a prankster. You know what I mean? I'm a prankster. I got a lot of pranks up my sleeve and whatnot. You understand? I'm a big time prankster. I ain't gonna say what's up my sleeve or whatever the case may be, but I got some for people. I got some for certain neighbors and whatnot who act a certain way, but I haven't had that issue. My mother did at one point. My mother did at one point. You know what I'm saying? And it almost got physical, and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, ah man, ooh. But you know, when you learn how to de-escalate a situation, things can calm down or whatever. This was years ago though, years and years ago or whatever. But you may have certain neighbors that's just like that, man. I think number one is get evidence, get proof that this person is threatening you, and whatnot. You know what I mean? But sometimes you hope it don't go into violence. You hope it don't go into anything like that. You understand? But there's been stories and documentaries and stuff like that where as though I think it's a TV show like that. I forgot the TV show name, where as though they have neighbors going at it, and it's like that, man. I don't Me personally, it's so easy to just live in your house, fix your garden up, keep your place clean or whatever. You got your garage. Why is there issues with other people? Because they feel as though they own the whole area. You just own that house right there. That's your property right there. Here's the property line. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, this whole area is not yours. You understand? So certain people are that way. Yeah, I mean, you have certain people when I deliver, it's almost like what you doing here. Like they own the whole property, the whole area. This ain't for you. You know what I mean? I was doing a delivery in Charlotte one time. Black woman. So I parked next to the person I was delivering house. Across the street, black one black woman comes out. Mind you, my 18 wheeler is not blocking her driveway. You know what I mean? Even if it was, I'm not moving until I finish this delivery. So she come out, had some choice words. I looked at her. I think I said whatever. I looked at her and I said whatever. You understand? Because I know the type of energy that you're about to pull with me. I don't argue with women. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to argue with women in person. You either gonna get your husband or get your brother or a male figure of some sort. I'm not gonna be sitting here arguing. You know what I mean? Because I think it's a coward move for a man to argue with a woman in any type of situation like that. You know what I mean? Where's a man at in this situation? Simple. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, men can understand more so. You know what I mean? But you got a lot of Karens and Darrens out there. I will say that, man. Peace, peace, peace at Teresa. Be safe out there. Londo says, didn't want to call the cops on a black man. A black man? Me personally, I don't care if the person is black, white, Chinese. I don't care about skin color, man. I'm not saying call or whatever, but have certain evidence. You know what I mean? To back your claims up. Because if you don't, a person could switch it around on you and make it look like you the suspect. They could switch it around. They could have been bothering you for a whole year. A whole year. And then one time, you may just snap on them or whatever and say something. And then they got you recorded. Throughout the whole year, they've been threatening you, but you got no evidence. And then at one time, you make a threat, they may have a little camera phone on that you can't see that's recording you. Now you looking like the bad guy. Now they got you posted on the internet. You could lose your job and everything else. You understand? So my thing is this, man. Capture the evidence, man. Seriously, because a lot of people can flip the switch and flip it around on you. All right? I don't care about no guidelines, Patrick T. You coming in here talking about guidelines, man. I don't care about nothing about that right now, man. Nothing about that. You understand? I don't care about no pajamas. I don't care about no pants. Nothing. You know what I mean? I don't care about none of that right now, what you talking. You understand? We talking about good morning, how's everybody doing and whatnot. You're a common person who comes on here. And what TNT was saying the other day, on 1 minute, you attacking the TOG. Next minute, you're trying to blend in. You understand? So when you attack, it's almost like you attacking indirectly when you say certain terms like that. And then you trying to play, man, I ain't really trying to say nothing. But why you keep trying to like indirectly attack? You keep talking about you and that other fella, Mr. Lookalike, y'all keep talking about the same stuff over and over. You keep talking about the TOG guidelines, all this other stuff. Go speak to them about it. I ain't make no guidelines. Go speak to them. Go speak to them about their guidelines. Go speak to the overseer about it. You the evangelist. I'm just a YouTuber at the end of the day. You know what I mean? That's it. So if you have an issue with another organization guidelines versus worrying about your own, that's on you. That's why I say I don't care about them guidelines that you're talking about. Focus on your own at the end of the day, man. You know what I mean? If you got an issue with another organization's guidelines, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you at the end of the day. That's like me being concerned about Joel Osteen's and their guidelines. I don't care about that. I don't care. We ain't here talking about that. You understand? All right. Lionel says not enough space to fully explain on here. K Dunk, you said does taking beetroot capsules give the same results as the juice or powder? I think it depends what you're trying to do. Because some people take this stuff for blood pressure. They take it for blood pressure or whatever. You know, if a person's blood pressure is 140 over 90, and then they start taking the capsules for a couple of weeks, and then they see no results, and then they add the powder with it, they may see some results or whatever. It all depends what you're looking for. You know, so if you see better results, and you take the capsules or the powder or both together with your blood pressure, then hey, it's all good. It's all cool. Yeah, I mean, I think the beetroot or the beet juice, I think it has like what is that, nitric oxide or something like that to help widen your arteries or something like that or whatever. You know, so a person, if they focusing on like their blood pressure or whatever, I think it also would be wise to get the vitamin K2. You know what I'm saying? It's a vitamin called K2. Whereas though I think a lot of people they don't know that, the calcium, and I'm not no doctor or anything like that. It's just things that, my doctor has told me, or certain things that I have studied or whatever. The calcium, why a lot of people may have high blood pressure, because the calcium goes to the heart or whatever, whereas though it's not supposed to. You know what I'm saying? So I think the K2 vitamin, it directs the calcium to the proper place in your body, like your bones and stuff like that. So sometimes the calcium get built up, in your heart, around your heart, arteries or whatever the case may be, which can cause high blood pressure. You understand? It can reduce strokes and stuff like that. And a lot of people Some people may deal with plaque buildup in their arteries or calcium buildup in their arteries or whatever the case may be, because the calcium is going to the wrong area of your body. You understand? Whereas those should be going to your bones and stuff like that. So I was looking at something, and I said, you know what? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. At the end of the day, you understand? It's also good to get an echocardiogram, every 2 years on your heart or whatever. Versus what is that? The EKG. I know some people get that, but it's a more enhanced test done on your heart that I like to get every 2 years. You understand? Just to make sure everything is intact or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's what I do every 2 years. Try to get that test ran. You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of us minorities, man. We have family members who have passed away from common things like diabetes, heart disease, and stuff like that. It all starts, a lot of them, with blood pressure. You know what I mean? Kidney disease and all the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us minorities, we deal with the blood pressure thing, you know? And, what my doctor was telling me is that, and he's white or whatever, he says something about minorities that y'all blood pressure is just high. You understand? It's a hereditary, mainly a hereditary type of thing. You understand? It's just, they don't know or whatever. But it's good that a lot of us like to try to take care of ourselves, man, to try to, like, keep our blood pressure down or whatever. You know what I mean? Some people may classify um 140 over 90 as normal. Some people may 130 over 80 or 120 over 80 or whatever. Different doctors, different people got different perspective on what's high blood pressure, what's normal, and what's low, or whatever the case may be, man. Everybody got different thoughts about that or whatever. All right. Let me see where we at. Patrick T says, I'm not looking for attention. All right. And he put for 41 people. I don't know what he meant by that, but he says, I must be desperate. There's no topic today. I wanted to talk about pajama pants. Bad. Well, like I explained, you may see, it may say 31 or 32 or 41 or whatever the case may be. That's not the proper number. You understand? That's not the proper number. The proper statistics, if I was to show you, or whatever on the side of my studio side, you'd be like, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. You know what I mean? So I wanted to talk about that another day too, on how to start and build a YouTube channel and all the characteristics about it or whatever, you know? And you said you wanted to talk about pajama pants. Bad. Why you say it like that in like a childish way? You're talking in a childish way. I wanted to talk about pajama pants. Bad. Where do you get that from? You know what I mean? You want to talk about pajama pants? Why? Why you want to talk about something, right? And you're not a part of an organization? Why? Let me know. Because I never heard of nothing like that. Shelly House says, they put me on blood pressure medicine because my sugar and my pressure were low. But after drinking my sour sup, you said all my blood work is normal. Wonderful. What's up to Gino P? Shout out to you. He says he give all creepy vibes, Patrick T. All right. Let me see where we at. What's up to Esther? Shout out to you. I'm just scrolling through. Lionel says they are men acting like YNs and nothing to lose. All I have in this world is my wife and soon to be 2 kids. Mm, understandable. Mm. Mr. Ham says, I'll call the cops or anybody if they tripping. I'm not catching the case. Patrick T says, I ask, the scriptures need help. Guidelines written by man. That's not in scripture. What? See, why you keep wanting to talk about the same stuff? Why? I don't get it. You see what I was talking about the other day? How people like y'all keep wanting to talk about the same stuff over and over. You have nothing else to talk about. Nothing. You know what I mean? You keep wanting to talk about the Son of God all the time with that topic all the time. You know what I mean? And you keep coming in here talking about handkerchiefs and red suits. I see you in the comment section on other channels. You keep wanting to talk about the same stuff over and over. Why? For what? I don't care about no handkerchief. I don't worry about handkerchiefs and pajama pants. I don't care. You're talking to somebody who don't care about that stuff. You know what I mean? I don't wear no handkerchief. I don't care about it. You know what I mean? I don't worry about irrelevant things like that. Simple as that. You want to talk about a red suit, you want to talk about a handkerchief, you want to talk about things that are so irrelevant to me. You know what I mean? When have I ever come on here and talk about a red suit? Never. You know what I mean? Or a handkerchief. Never. I will not have a topic, man. It's wearing a handkerchief is bad or good. But you're worrying about it. And you don't even go to First Church. That's the sad part right there. I would think somebody who go to First Church would want to talk about something like that more so. I would think that. Yeah, you know what I mean? But I could care less about a handkerchief, man. I don't care about that. You know what I mean? I don't care about no pajamas or whatever. You understand? At the end of the day, if a person is in their house with pajamas on, what business is to another person? That's their house. If that single brother or that single sister is in her own house minding her business with pajama pants on, or whatever the case may be, what is anybody else's business at the end of the day? If you're knocking on somebody's door, sister, brother, do you got pajama pants on? Just like if a husband and wife, like some people in holiness, when you talk about bedroom activity, what y'all doing in there? Huh? Are y'all doing anything that you ain't supposed to do? Are y'all using whipped cream? You ain't supposed to use that. I'm not knocking on people's doors and worrying about what they doing or if they wearing pajama pants or what is that, a nightgown and all that. I don't care about that stuff. I don't worry about other people. I don't do that. I don't care. I don't got nothing to do with that. I don't got nothing to do with that at all. I'm trying to focus on my own salvation. Me wasting time or if somebody wearing pajama pants, how is that going to help my salvation out? Huh? Again, how is it going to help my salvation if I'm worrying about brother such and such over here wearing pajama pants? I don't care. That's something he got to deal with. That's something that sister got to deal with, not me. You know what I mean? I don't got nothing to do with that. You understand? If a church write a guideline or whatever, and that person still do it or whatever, that's on them, not me. I'm focusing on my salvation. You know what I mean? I ain't worrying about the next man or the next woman wearing pajama pants or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't doing that at all. You know what I'm saying? I think I had a suit on one day. I think I went to service in Greensboro one time. Shout out to brother Bakari. Took a picture with him. You understand? Was it I think it was 2023, Greensboro. You know what I'm saying? Or in 2024, I went to service. No, 2023, I went to service. I had a suit on. You know, it was black and crimson red, mostly black. And then I had shoes on. You know what I mean? I had just, did I just move to the area? Not too sure. You know what I mean? But I was trying to find some shoes. I was trying to find some shoes, right? I couldn't find none. You know what I'm saying? Although I should have been, what to go shop for some shoes or whatever. So I only had one pair of shoes, right? And it was designed a certain way. I had to put them on. I had no choice or whatever, right? So I put the picture up years ago or whatever, and then you get an inbox, and people don't know your situation. Some people just jump to conclusions or assumptions. You don't know what the situation that brother or that sister was in, why they had to put that on, or why they had to wear that. You don't know if their house burnt down. You don't know if it was a last minute thing or whatever. You don't know. You understand? So some people jump to conclusions with certain things, and they don't know the whole story. Simple as that. So me personally, if a brother have something on, you know what I mean? I guess that you may consider that's violating whatever. That's not my concern. That's not my concern at all. I'm not worried about that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sitting in service or sitting home thinking about it, man. Brother such and such, man, he got pajama pants on at home. Do he? Do sister such and such got pajama pants on at home? Do she? Ah, man, that's not me. You know, so I don't worry about stuff like that, man. You know. Shelly House says I don't like to argue with anyone because I have a rage button and kept it close, have kept it close up. But my mother used to say CYOA. I want to go back to your comment that you said, Patrick T. If I could find it. Matter of fact, I ain't gonna go back to that, man. I'm just scrolling down. There you go. You says if a handkerchief is not modest apparel, how is a tie modest apparel? Man, I don't care about no handkerchief, man. So it is what it is. What's up to S. Jackson? Shout out to you. K Dunk says blood pressure and circulation. Mr. Ham says beet juice capsules are not the same as the actual beet juice. Sion 45 says used to be coffee, now I just drink turmeric or green tea. A Fancy says ultrasound. Shelly House says I drink a bottle of Pedialyte once a month, also so I won't be so dehydrated. Denise Carter says I bought the beetroot and peeled them and put them into a Ziploc bag in the fridge. Eat a few slices each day. Very good for BP2. Mr. Ham says raw beets have a lot of potassium capsules. Shelly House says I get an EKG, echo, colonoscopy, mammogram, and blood work every year. TES says your left eye, TH, did the bag hit it while exercising? My left eye? What are you talking about? My left eye? What is he referring to? Is something wrong with my left eye? Huh? See, we on camera right now, so it may look different. It may look like the right side, but this is actually my left eye. So what's wrong with it, man? Is something wrong with my left eye? Huh? My left eye. What's wrong with it? Let me know. So this is my left and this is my right. So it may appear different on different sides. Mr. Ham says there are a lot of other fruits that are good for your blood pressure and kidneys. Wonderful. What up to Austin Tucker? I used to take heart medication and it put me it made me put on some weight. I'm off it now. So, do you have any advice for weight loss? Weight loss. I mean, it's all different type of formats. Yeah, I mean, as a fighter, um, I had to lose like 5 pounds in like 30 minutes one time. You understand? So I had a fight 2015, Diamond Gloves, boxing tournament. It was the finals. I don't know why. I don't know. I checked my weight in the morning. I was fine. I get to the fights. You got to get weighed in and checked by the doctor. And I was some pounds over, man. They give you 30 minutes, maybe an hour. Got to jump rope, man. Lose that water weight. Lost 5 pounds. Got to make sure you ain't dehydrated or whatever. But if you're looking to lose weight slowly, I think cardio is good. Some people go into like saunas. I think that's good too. Or some people, I don't really trust the little shot that people are doing now. I forgot what it's called. I seen the commercial the other day with it was either with Serena Williams or Venus. I don't know. But I'm like, what? I've never seen nothing like that. Never. And some of y'all was explaining or whatever. I forgot what it's called. You know. But cardio, um, eating right, a lot of water, fiber. I guess it all depends also on, how your body structure is. I think it all depends and where you want to lose the weight at. You understand how much you want to lose or whatever. And these days, um, I'm not doing that stuff no more. Whereas though I can lose 5 pounds in 30 minutes. I mean, it's easy, but I think when you get older, it could be more dangerous or whatever. But I think if a person is depending on their age, also, you might want to lose weight slowly. But it's hard work. I think the older you get, also, it's more harder to lose the weight. I was skinny all my life, and but as I'm getting older, the appetite is increasing. The appetite is increasing. I will say that. But we still at a steady pace. You know what I mean? And it depends on how much you want to lose. I will also recommend, check with your doctor also, man. I mean, that's a key factor. Check with your doctor, what you can and what you cannot do, you know. Sion 45 says, doctors just want to put you on medication, especially these days, to make money. He says, be your own doctor. Try to do the best you can. He says, in America, healthcare has become a business now. They don't care about patients. That's why they graduate anybody as a registered nurse. TES, I don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing wrong with my eye. You know what I mean? I don't know what you're seeing, or I don't see anything, man. Unless you're talking about the lighting in here or whatever, man. I don't see nothing. Patrick T says there's a viral video going around from TOG pastor preacher saying if a sister dies wearing pajama pants, she's going to hell. I talk short because we have a limit on the chat text. Where that's at? I ain't hear no video like that. Let me look it up right quick. Where's the link? I ain't never hear such thing like that. Let me see. I'm gonna look up Geno Jennings pajamas. Let me see if that pops up. I don't see no short, man. Ain't nothing coming up. What video are you referring to? Because I don't see no video at all. At all. All right. me see where we at. What's up to the executive guy? True for All says, okay. What up to True for All? Shout out to you. The executive guy says, if someone jumps out of a plane for a thrill of shooting, if that parachute mechanically fails or he oh man, he falls to death, is that tempting God? Would that be considered unaliving? That's a good question. That's a good question right there. I will say that. Huh. But I will also recommend that to a minister, man. Yeah, I mean, me personally, I ain't doing nothing like that, man. You understand? If you put yourself in a situation like, you could possibly get unalived, like parachuting or what is that, scuba diving. What else is out there? I think I've seen something where people put themselves in the ocean with sharks in a cage and stuff like that. Or that situation with that bison that ran the man over. I'm not gonna sit here and go out in the jungle or at a zoo in the open with bisons and rhinos and the elephant. I'm not gonna do that. You understand? No way. No way at all. You know what I'm saying? So that right there, as far as like, would it be considered unaliving? I don't know. Unaliving themselves? I don't know. I don't know, but that's a good question. You know what I'm saying? I will say that. Mr. Patrick T said you show the guidelines all the time. No, I don't. No, I don't. Don't sit here and lie like that. Stop lying. Stop sitting here and lying like that. You know what I mean? You're gonna sit here and lie. You know what I mean? If we gotta check something out to see if it's in the bylaws, then I will do that. You act like I'm showing the bylaws every day, all day. You said all the time. All the time. Stop lying. You know? We got a few more minutes before we knock off. A Fancy says those shots were originally designed for people who had diabetes. Now it's just spilled out of control. It wasn't Gino. Is a short, dark-skinned preacher, and he's screaming and then hollering. So why are you making it seem like First Church said it? Why are you making it seem like Geno Jennings said that? Why would you come in here and say pajamas is bad like it's in the guidelines? That's what I'm thinking you're talking about. You made it seem like it's in the bylaws. Geno Jennings said that. Now you're saying from some dark-skinned dude. I think you're talking about Cephas Elijah. That fella's not a part of First Church. You know what I mean? That has nothing to do. That has nothing to do with Truth of God preachers. If that's Cephas Elijah from Virginia, you made it seem like Geno Jennings said that. Get out of here, man. Talking about you going to hell if you wear pajamas. Makes no sense. That makes no sense at all. I think you're talking about Cephas. You said it's a dark-skinned fella hooping and hollering. You're probably talking about him. A wannabe. Simple as that. You know what I mean? But if that's what he's saying, you know what I mean? Then hey, that's on him. I heard a so-called preacher say if you play PlayStation, you're going to hell. That's on them. You understand? If you play PlayStation, you're going to hell. That's what I heard. You understand? Here it is. If I'm playing PlayStation with my children, ABC 1, 2, 3 game. 1 + 1. What is it, huh? It's 2. If they babies. Huh? They going to hell because they playing PlayStation? Educational games? I mean, some people are just stupid, honestly. They're just pure stupid. At the end of the day, man. I will say that. For sure. Shelly House says you hardly ever put up the bylaws. For sure. That's for sure. So there's so-called preachers out there, man. They just, I don't know, man. They just like to put people in hell for no reason. No reason. You eat an apple, you're going to hell. You eat an orange a certain way, you're going to hell. You know what I mean? They like this. Some people just like to put people in hell for anything. Anything. You know what I mean? They need to talk about themselves first. What are you doing that's going to put you in hell, fella? Simple. So when I heard that from that false apostle in North Carolina, if you play PlayStation, you're going to hell. I don't play video games, but there's educational games that you can play on PlayStation or whatever. You know what I mean? For your kids, if you got babies and stuff like that, ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, and if they need to learn multiplication and division and addition and subtraction and stuff like that. It's educational games for the kids to learn. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. Right? You says he's a TLG minister, not Gino, no pajama pants. This is no pajama pants is in the guidelines for women, just like no red do-rags is in the guidelines. Here you go. It's not red. Yeah, I mean, this ain't no red do-rag, dummy. It look red, but it ain't. Yeah, I mean, you show me in the guidelines about do-rags. I know it's not there. Yeah, I mean, but you show me. Just like you show me pajamas. Where is pajamas at? You still haven't showed me. Where is it at? You know what I mean? What I look like going outside with nappy hair. I like for my hair to look nice. Come on, Patrick T, you've been on my Facebook. I see you making comments. You understand? Patrick T, I'm like, how you find me? How you find me? What are you doing? Looking on Facebook, trying to find Tony Harvin and liking his pictures and commenting. Huh? So if anybody want to see Tony Harvin without his do-rag, and you look at the waves, it's on my Facebook. Simple. You know what I mean? That's how you keep the waves. You know what I mean? Nice and smooth, man. You get that brush, you get that water, you brush it, keep that do-rag on, keep the dirt from hitting it. You understand? Go do that. Keep your hair nice and clean. You wash it, you shampoo it, you condition it, you put natural things in it, you brush it, you put that wave cap on, the do-rag. You know what I mean? Keep it nice and firm. When you go out, you good. Simple as that, man. You know what I mean? It's my house I'm in. I could wear pajamas. I could wear do-rag. Or whatever. I'm here. You want you understand? I could wear a bandana, a hat. What else they got? They got the straw hats. I've been meaning to get a straw hat. I want that straw hat so bad, man. Look pretty cool. I came across the straw hats from First Church. You know what I mean? I said I never seen a straw hat with a suit on, man. That's a good look. I like that. You know what I mean? One thing about Gino, you know what I mean? He got good style. I never liked suits. I don't like suits at all. You know what I mean? But you can tell, man, that's a good color, man. I like the coordination and all that, man. I like that, man. That's how I am. Coordinate. You know what I mean? A brother want to look modest. A brother want to look nice and neat and clean. You know? So if you get a haircut, you got to put a do-rag on, right, to keep it nice and firm at nighttime. You get a haircut, a certain haircut, if you go to bed It be all over the place. Be all over the place, and man, you mess your hair cut up. You know what I mean? You mess it all up, especially if you got curly hair like me. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to have those puffed up curls, so I brush it down for the waves, man. Natural. The naturalness to it. You know? I ain't trying to look like you, Patrick T. I seen just ah man. You know how we went to the science center as kids. You know, when you go to a science place and you touch this electric thing, little staticky thing, it stands your hair up. I ain't trying to be like that with you, Patrick T. No, no. You know what I mean? No, no. I like to keep a nice, clean cut. Even if my hair's not like shaped up and stuff like that, man. I still like to keep nice and neat, fella. You understand? That's how I am. You know what I mean? So you show me where do-rags is at. You know what I mean? What about yourself, fella? Why you don't groom yourself often? Huh? You don't groom yourself? You don't get you don't get a cut often? You understand? Maybe you should put a do-rag on. Huh? Maybe you should brush your hair forward and put that do-rag on, man. Get a nice little trim. Come on, man. Come on, fella. You That's what you should do, man. Brush that chia pet down and put a do-rag on, man. You understand? You should put a do-rag on. Here we go. What's up to Sylvia James? Powerpuff Girls. I'm just reading these comments. But I haven't seen nobody from the TOG talk about pajamas. I never seen that before. I never seen that before. So how can a Church of Christ fella talk about guidelines he don't know nothing about? How? Huh? When I as a trucker, when you go into places, constructional places, you have to wear a hat. If you have a bandana, that's even better, or a do-rag, that's even better. And you got to wear the construction hat also. You understand? So if you like to go out, get a bunch of dust in your hair, have dirty hair and stuff like that without taking care of yourself, then that's on you. That's on you. You know what I mean? But for the brothers out there who got natural curls, or you just got a basic number 1 or 1.5. You know what I mean? Or those who got curly hair. Depends on your hair texture and tone and stuff like that. You know, you put a scarf on, you put a do-rag on or a sue-rag on. They got sue-rags too. You know what I mean? They got other, headwear for men to keep your hair nice and neat when you go to sleep at nighttime. You know what I'm saying? Who wants to wake up and your hair is all over the place? Simple. Simple as that. All right. What's up to Tortor? Shout out to you. Yo, y'all funny. Appreciate that. Let me see where we at. How many we don't believe. He says we don't believe we have to press or comb our hair to be beautiful. We're beautiful the way God made us. No black woman needs a beauty shop, Tony. What is you talking about, man? This man said a beauty shop. What are you talking? I'm lost. Somebody please help me. What is this fella talking about? He says we don't believe we have to press or comb our hair to be beautiful. That's on you. If you want nappy and filthy, dirty hair, that's on you. That's on you, fella. That's on you. You know what I mean? That's what you don't believe in. If you don't believe you got to comb your hair brush your hair, wash your hair. Man, you don't believe in washing your hair? You know what I mean? Getting the dandruff out, the dirt out. You don't believe in that? Man, say he don't believe in combing his hair. Sound like a child. Wow. Man don't believe in combing his hair as a man. You don't believe in brushing your hair either? That's crazy, man. I thought I heard it all. I thought I did. You understand? I thought I did. The man you don't even go to the barber shop? You don't even shave? Huh? Wow. You don't even wash your hairs on your face. Clean it. Clean your skin. Man. That's what you don't believe in. You understand? If that's what you do, that's on you. Nothing you say. He says, nope, don't need to comb my hair to adhere to, he said, to white standards. He said, just like you won't see ultra perm in my hair. I don't have a perm neither. I don't have a perm neither. When you like my picture on Facebook, I don't know how you found me. When you see the picture, if you go to my Facebook page, Tony Fast Hands Harvin, and you see the waves with the white suit on, that's my natural hair. No perm. You understand? No hair paint. No man wig. That's natural waves. Natural. That's just with a brush, do-rag, water. Simple. You know what I mean? So when my hair grows, who is this now, man? So when my hair grows, you get the guard to the clippers. I believe it's the 1.5 or 1 guard. You put the 1 guard on, right? All you got to do is follow your hair pattern. You know what I mean? You just cut it with the grain and it lays down. Simple. That's all I do. Cut, brush, do-rag. I don't know nothing about no perm or nothing. This ain't no perm, fella. People do have natural waves and natural curls, if you don't know. You know what I mean? He's talking about white standards now. This ain't got nothing to do with race. Nothing. This ain't got nothing to do with race. Now you want to bring race in this. You know what I mean? Natural. Natural. Ain't no juices and berries neither. Just natural. I was born with this hair. Born with it. Born. It's like some people come in here and said something about face paint. It said face paint. This is real hair, man. Real. This is natural. This is natural. You know, you try to scratch the face paint off. Nothing is coming off. This is hair. I can't help it. I was born with it. You know what I'm saying? Can't help it, man. Okay. Let me see. We got a couple more minutes before we knock off. Victory says, do you think women going to the gym is wrong? And how can you wear a skirt to the gym? Well, when I see sisters working out on my Facebook, they dress modest. You know, a lot of them wear like long dresses. I don't know. I can't explain the wearing what they put on because I don't know. Because there's some people that's creating clothing, apparel for sisters to work out in. I think it's called like holiness apparel or something like that. Whereas though the person is creating creative things. Whereas though a woman could put on and she could work out. But I've seen sisters dress modest and work out at a gym. And if the gym got music, they got headphones on. You understand? So it's ways to dress modest in a gym for them or whatever. You know what I mean? But all the sisters I've seen on Facebook working out, they dress modest. You understand? Whether they're at home or they at a local gym or complex or whatever. You understand? But me personally, I don't um I don't put emphasis on if this sister got whatever on. That's not me, man. You know what I'm saying? On my Facebook or whatever, if a sister's at a gym and she got tights on, I'm not gonna go to her picture and say, "Sister, you ain't supposed to be wearing this. This is against the guidelines." I don't do that. I don't do that. You know what I mean? I really don't. Patrick T says, "Black women don't need a beauty shop and black men don't need a barber shop." You a fool. You a fool. And that's nasty too. That's nasty, man. Ugh. Wow. How do you take care of your skin? Whoa. My goodness. That's just disgusting, man. You understand? You don't groom yourself. You don't need a barbershop to groom yourself or to have clean skin or self-care. You understand? That's nasty. You sound like a Hebrew Israelite. So you got a Hebrew Israelite going to the Church of Christ, evangelizing. I didn't know you was like that. I ain't know you was like a low-key Hebrew Israelite. I ain't know that. I didn't know that. You know what I mean? I didn't know that you was against going to the barber shop. I didn't know you was against cutting your hair. I didn't know you was against grooming yourself. I didn't know that. Man, what if I wanted if I was at like a number 4 and I just wanted to cut with the grain down to a 1.5 and that's it? You against that? That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Wow. That is crazy. But we gotta go. We gotta go. We've been on here for about 2 hours. Lord willing, I'll be on later. Lord willing, I'll be on later. I'm gonna try to get on the other channel. I'm gonna try to get on the other channel. I'm gonna try. You understand? Lord willing. You know, or I guess we could come on here, but I'm really trying to go on the other channel. So if you got any last closing remarks, feel free to leave it in the chat room as we wrap it up. You know, on this, it's a day off, and I'm chilling. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful day off. It's so beautiful when it's a day off and you get to relax, man. Especially on a Friday, man. This is very rare for me. But, you know, it's all good. So hopefully I come back on later. We can conversate some more at the end of the day, man. It was a good conversation. Funny conversation. You know what I'm saying? So I'm Tony Harvin of the Tony Harvin YouTube channel. Signing off. I'm out. Peace.